Hi friends, welcome back. So Elon Musk has lost you 78% of your money. That's according to Fidelity. We're talking about the Twitter deal, and will Elon Musk also lose you 78% of your money with Tesla? That remains to be seen. But let me go through the details of this stuff and we'll talk about it. So first, this is Fidelity's blue chip growth fund. So they have money in Twitter and they have to estimate, okay, what do we think our stake is worth? They estimate the value, and essentially it dropped the value of Twitter. So before, Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion. If Fidelity's numbers are correct on the current value of Twitter, they only value at Twitter at $9.4 billion. The precise number then would be a 78.7% drop in your worth of this thing, right? So again, Elon's destroying 78% of your money. Could he do the same kind of thing with Tesla? That's the question. Now, there's an interesting thing that just came out today. This was a polling data asking Democrats, what do you think about Elon? Only 6% of Democrats find Elon in a favorable light. Now, why does this matter? Well, guys, if you understand the history of this stuff, Elon Musk started his company, right, Tesla in California. California tends to be a more democratic state. It's an electric car company. Elon's like, yo, this is technology. This is the future. This is going to save the planet. These kind of things tend to appeal to Democratic voters, right? Republican voters, they don't believe in climate change, so why would they want to buy electric vehicles? That's just not their target, right? They want to stick with their gas vehicles. And so then Elon Musk making this political shift to the right, he's basically alienating his main customer base. And so the question is, if Elon destroyed 78% of the value on Twitter, could he do the same thing with Tesla? I think yes. Tesla's grossly overvalued. We've already seen him destroy wealth, billions of dollars with Twitter. I think it's certainly a possibility. Now, I'm going to talk about this further. Elon's been saying, yo, guys, forget that we're a car company. We're actually a Robotaxi and robot company now. And you have to make this pivot because essentially, if the car company business is failing, if you're getting beat by your competitors in China, if you're worried about your competitors in USA, worried about your competitors in Asia, be it like Korea, China, Japan, etc. Worried about your competitors in Europe. I think it was just recently BMW is now ahead of Tesla in European EV sales. Like all of these things start to add up, and you're like, okay, fine, we're not a car company, guys. We're not a car company. Don't worry about failing car sales. We're now going to be like robotaxis and robots. So that's sort of why the shift in that. The thing is, though, I trust Fidelity's on the numbers. If they're saying that Elon Musk has destroyed 78% of the wealth over at Twitter, I mean, why can't the same thing happen at Tesla? Now, this all depends who you ask. If you ask the Tesla pumpers, fanboys, and fangirls on social media, they'll say, oh, Elon's awesome, everything he says is gold. The thing that's been so funny about this stuff is that, the people who originally followed Elon, they follow them for all his tech talk, right? So the dude, talks tech, he talks about going to Mars, he talks about electric cars, these kind of things, and then they basically just repeat whatever he says and like treat it like the gospel of Elon, right? But these days, when Elon's talking about politics this, politics that, politics this, politics that, it's been fascinating to see the Tesla fanboys and fangirls. They have to make essentially one of two decisions. One is, some of them have just frankly quit. Because they're like, I got in this thing because I want to talk about cars and tech and, going to Mars, that kind of stuff. Other ones have like, well, I got in this thing because I want to, talk about cars, tech, and Mars and stuff like that. But because, Elon pays the rent, I'm going to talk about politics stuff all the time. And so you see these people freaking out on the channel. Now, some people, to be fair, are already right-winger. That already kind of fits with their way that they see see the world. But the ones who've had to sort of make the change into the crazy Elon politics, that's what they've done. Now, what's interesting, though, is that regarding this sort of like robotaxi robot transition that Tesla's trying to make, some Wall Street analysts are sort of pushing the fantasy. Why? Because they care about their money. If they hold stake in Tesla, or if Elon owes them a bunch of money and they need Elon to sell his stock to pay them back, they need to keep the price pumped up. So this would be, in particular, is Morgan Stanley. So this is Adam Jonas. He was making some predictions about the upcoming Robotaxi event, and he has 3 questions. And I'm going to pose these questions to you, but these are the 3 questions that are going to be asked during this event. So here it is. It says, 1, safety, okay? Will investors see data comparing the safety of Tesla's autonomous vehicle technology to human driving? Meaning that when Tesla gives their whole announcement on October 10th, are they going to be able to give numbers and legitimate numbers that back up, that say basically robot drivers this Robotaxi thing is going to be safe for drivers? Are there going to be real numbers of that? That's an interesting question. Okay, so that's safety. So safety is one concern. Two, improvement. Again, these are questions coming from Morgan Stanley, Adam Jonas. Can investors get a good sense of the rate of change of performance across recent iterations of FSD? So the basic gist of it is, like, I don't know, it's every month or whatever. You can ask the Tesla fanboys and fangirls. They come out with a new iteration of FSD, and it's like, I think they're at 12.5.5 or something like that right now, but next one will be 12.5.6. You get every little iteration. Like, can Tesla document if the thing is moving forward and progressing, right? So the idea is that if I can see a rate of progression, then maybe I can predict when these things could actually be autonomous and maybe go on the road. The thing is, though, with this stuff is that I saw one of the Tesla fanboy pumpers recently actually said that the most recent iteration is a step backwards for FSD. So that's not great for Tesla. Also, depending on who you ask, and I'll trust the people who are, research experts of this, be it Carnegie Mellon or otherwise, because I read what different professors say about this stuff. Like people who study this stuff, they say it's just not possible because cameras only, it's not feasible, right? The Tesla removed the sensors for cost. Elon tries to say, oh, we don't need sensors. They're just a crutch, but he's just trying to tell you that because he's trying to keep costs down. So there's that. It may never work. And then the last one, again, these are three questions that Morgan Stanley, Adam Jonas has going into the Robotaxi event. Methodology. What will investors learn about the critical enabling technologies to drive further improvement in FSD cybercab autonomy, right? So how are they going to make the thing better? So basically you want to say, okay, is this safer than humans? What kind of progress are showing and what are your plans forward to make this thing better? Because ultimately, guys, if this thing's not safe, no one's going to get into this thing. And this goes back to sort of like, regarding technology, you make your own bets. Like you literally, put your money where your mouth is. And I'll give you an example. So if Elon says, guys, my rockets are absolutely awesome, I got the best rockets in the world, but yet, like, why doesn't he go up in one of his rockets? He has yet gone to do that. Another example would be, okay, if Elon says, hey, everyone, I got the best, robot car in the world. It's so awesome. It can go from San Francisco to New York. Well, why doesn't Elon drive across the country doing that, right? Do you guys see what I'm saying here? Like if you really, truly believe in your products, put your money where your mouth is, put your life into what your, quote, beliefs are, and let's see for yourself. The other issue as well is, like, a lot of these sort of testing done with Tesla is, done internally, or they have the pumped up numbers by the YouTubers that you'll see. And what I mean by pumped up numbers, essentially what it is that the engineers at Tesla can look at like footage from the YouTubers or Elon, whatever. They can look at the camera footage and then they identify all the stuff on the road and basically map it out, right? And so you put extra engineerings on the most public facing forward FSD users. And so then what the stuff you see on YouTube is not really representative of your experience, because again, they're putting extra resources on the experiences of the VIPs. We've seen that before in a report. There is a actual, another evaluation coming out. This is called AMCI. It's like a third party that went through and tested FSD, and they actually had a really interesting conclusion of this stuff. So basically it was, you have to intervene in FSD, meaning a human has to come in and drive basically with the robot driving once every 13 minutes. And let me read this key quote here. It says, if you think 13 miles intervals, right? So every 13 miles you got to come in and do something. If you think 13-mile intervals between instances where a driver must grab the wheel or tap the brakes is pretty good, it's not just the number of interventions required, but the way the situations unfold, right? So some people say, okay, I think it's getting better. It's only once every 13 miles. And what they're saying is, regardless of what it is, let's say it's once every 14 miles, once every 20, the problem is that when you do have to intervene, it's like really, really dangerous, meaning that you could die, right? So once every 13 miles, you could die, essentially what they're saying. Let me read it exactly. It says here, quote, when errors occur, talking about the FSD, when errors occur, they are occasionally sudden, dramatic, and dangerous in those circumstances. It is unlikely that a driver without their hands on the wheel will be able to intervene in time to prevent an accident or possibly a fatality. And guys, this is something that I mentioned to you before on the channel. I actually looked up, and you can look up yourself. Just type in supervised full self-driving a manual. You can find, or I think it's like the Y, the 3, etc. Like you can literally find the Tesla manuals. It says you're supposed to keep your hand on the wheel. What's interesting though is that when you watch any of the YouTube pumper videos, etc., like all these people are sitting back from the wheel, right? So they're basically not following the manual. And the other issue is like, if these people are saying this is AMCI again, and they're testing that whenever there is a requirement of an intervention in this thing, this is their quote again, when errors occur, they are occasionally sudden and dramatic, right? It can happen really, really fast. You guys know this, it can happen really, really fast. And dangerous in those circumstances, it is unlikely that a driver without their hands on the wheel will be able to intervene in time to prevent an accident or possibly a fatality. We're such a long ways away from that. Like let's say for example that, you know, you don't need to intervene into FSD like once every 20 miles or whatever, but like, so does that mean every 20 miles I have a chance of possible fatality? Like, it's just not worth it. And this is sort of the dangers with this FSD robot stuff. If Elon, you know, comes out in the Robotaxi event and like it's got no steering wheel, no pedals, because there's been rumors on that, because essentially if you're saying this is a robot car, you don't really, well, quote, need steering wheels or pedal. I mean, you know, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. But like, it's never going to be street legal. It's just never going to be street legal. So you put steering wheels and pedals in this thing, and then it just becomes a regular car. You know, we'll see. Then the other issue with the Robotaxi thing is like, how big is this thing going to be? What's the range of this stuff? Who's going to operate these things? Are Tesla owners really going to let strangers in their car? Because like, according to Elon, you know, once they flip on the Robotaxi stuff, like it'll be like instant, and where, you know, you're all going to have Robotaxis. It's so lame. And regarding the Tesla stuff, and this is sort of, I want to give you an idea of how the narrative going forward will be. I guess the Tesla delivery report's going to come out soon. It might be this week. I don't know the exact day. But some of the Wall Street estimates is that China deliveries are going to go up by 8%, something like that. Okay. So the fanboys and fangirls will say, see, Tesla's still growing. We're still awesome. Like, don't you see? The problem with this, though, is, guys, is that, yes, it may be true that they're growing a bit, but they're still kind of where they were before. They just had a dip in sales before. The other issue is even if their deliveries are up, like Tesla may be theoretically taking a loss in these cars. There's a possibility in that, because they cut interest rates down. Like if you want to get a car, it's like, you know, free financing. It's like down to 0 for 5 years. So they may be taking a bath in that stuff. And one of the ways that they're keeping their sales afloat is actually subsidies from the Chinese government. So that may disappear anytime soon. I mean, who knows? You can ask the Chinese government on that. You know, whether or not the American government decides to stop subsidies, whether not the European, because I think there are various countries in Europe that have sort of electric vehicle subsidies. Like without these subsidies, like these companies like Tesla will fold. You know, we'll see. The other issue as well is like when you pay attention to the China stuff is, I have right here, it says China accounts for 1/3 of Tesla's sales, right? So if the Chinese economy implodes and people stop buying cars, that's really going to hurt Tesla. If the Chinese, you know, domestic companies do really, really well, that'll hurt Tesla. And also too, guys, this is a really important thing. Like Stellantis recently reported, like, oh my God, you know, we're just really, really struggling. That's another car manufacturer. Volkswagen's done the same thing. Mercedes has done the same thing. Aston Martin recently came out with a report that said the same thing. Like all these car companies are saying, like, we're really struggling forward. Things look weak in China. Competitors are tough in China. And then Tesla like tries to pretend that they're okay. It'll show up in the numbers. So, but you're gonna have different numbers here, right? They may say deliveries are up a bit, but we're gonna see like their actual financials, and there's that. So anyway, that's the question that I posed to you guys. Is will Elon Musk destroy, again, 78% of the value of Tesla, the same way that he did with Twitter? Will he tell people, you know, stop buying my cars, that kind of thing? Remember, he told advertisers over at Twitter to quit advertising. And do you remember Elon Musk is pissing off his strongest customer base, which is essentially, you know, sort of left-leaning, environment-friendly Democratic voters. And those are the people who buy your Teslas. And Elon is just like taking a major turn to turn those kind of people off. Remember, only 6% of those kind of people like Elon. So let me hear you guys' thoughts on this, and I'll catch you in the next video.